So I'm heading along the beach, down at a little place that I like to park, just to get myself a little bit of a respite, listen to the sea and chill out a little bit. There's some sea groins down here and the tide's coming in a little bit quicker than I was expecting it to be honest. I wanted to come down and do a couple of little long exposures, just a little groins going in the water, smooth it all out, do something minimal. There's a nice interesting sky. That was my plan, but I had a cup of coffee and that might have been a mistake, because now the groins look like they're underwater, but they're there for a reason, so the groins will not be completely underwater. I just have to work on something. I have done a video here before. If I can find the video for you, I will put it up in this top corner for you. Click on that and have a look. I've done something a little bit different, sort of scouting along the beach, seeing if I can find images that stand out, get your thinking process working, so it's always quite nice. So yeah, let's get down to these groins. They're only down here, and we'll have a little bit of a nose and see if I can do something. I don't know what, but something. So now I'm down here. They're not the most interesting of groins, really. I don't quite know what I can do for your enjoyment. What I will do, I'm going to go down the right hand side of this one because it's in the water, and to get down on these pebbles, it's going to be not that easy walking on pebbles, is it? But we do love the sound, and I'm going to see if I can just get a bit of long exposure on the water. And the tide's going to come right up here. You can see this tide level, the tide's coming up here. So I'm going to see if I can get a long exposure on the water, smooth it all out, and have the island and the little Penmon lighthouse right there in the background. But yeah, the tide's obviously going to come right up on these stones, so these groins are going to be underwater for quite a while because the tide is coming in. So yeah, let me just see if I can get a side-on view of this. Put the filters on, 10 stop, maybe even a bit longer, smooth it all out and give it a go. Now Maven have got some more filters coming, so stay tuned for a video from me. They're doing a 15 stop, I think a 20 stop, and some various other ones, so very, very interesting. But yeah, let's get this, little barnacles, a little bit of seaweed and the lighthouse and those nice little clouds. See if we can just get something to start it going, and then we'll try the other one a little bit further along. So what particularly do you need to do a long exposure? I hear none of you asking. Well, you need your tripod for starters. So we have a nice, pretty sturdy tripod. This one, it's quite a beast. You don't want to be carrying heavy tripods if you don't need to. So yeah, we have to have a tripod, and we also need a camera, obviously. And then with the camera, we then need some filters. So I use Maven filters, which I absolutely love. I think they're some of the best filters I've ever used, and I'm well impressed with them. And they come in this lovely little pouch as well. I get this beautiful pouch with me set of filters in. So I basically take this pouch and clip that onto my tripod. So all I've got it's easy for me to say, wasn't it? All I've got to do then is to go down to the water's edge with the tripod, filters and the camera. I don't have to carry my bag down there, but I do have to keep an eye on my bag if it's behind me, so it doesn't get full of water. And the helpful tip is always zip the top up. You get a rogue wave coming in, depending on where you are on the beach, you don't want it going into the bag if you can help it. So yeah. And I've also always got this cover on my bag, always. And the reason is because I never know where I'm going to chuck it in, stones, dog muck, when you're on the grass or anything, and I can just take the cover off and wash it. You throw your bag in and it's done. So it doesn't matter where I am, grass, sand, mud, shale, shingle, anything, it's always covered up. And it's bright and green, bright and orange over the green, which sort of blends in, the orange stands out. So if I need help, people can find me. That's the plan. So I'm going to try and set myself up a shot. Not sure whether you're going to be able to see me where I am framing myself properly, or hear me on this microphone, but we will certainly give it a go. So tripod down, get it sturdy, get it steady, get it nice and in place, and then the beauty of the flippy screen and the atoll. Look at my atoll, I can just literally spin the camera around like that and do it back up again. fantastic. Yeah, so then I just basically set up my image. I want roughly what I'm looking for, and then I can move it and make it a bit better. Flippy screen comes out, which means I don't have to bend down. The ISO wants to be on your lowest ISO you can get. So with mine it's 125, and then I'm going to zoom into these groins. I'm going to get my horizon nice and level, and all I've got is the groins and Penmon Lighthouse, or Little Penmon, whatever. I don't actually know what that little island's called. Puffin Island I keep calling it. So I've got the little groins at the bottom. We'll have a little bit of stonage as well. The clouds, beautiful little image. So a single shot, we don't need anything crazy. Single shot, get your exposure set, and just focus on the groin. And I'm at f8, and I'm going to put my 2-second timer on, and I'm going to just take a test shot. Look at my little test shot, looks okay. We might need to brighten it up a little bit, but first of all we're going to start with that. Then I'm going to take out one of my filters, and we're going to take out the 10 stop, which I know is the gold one with these Mavens. Beautiful, look, gold filter. I know it's a 10 stop. It's also got 10 notches around the top, so I know that it's a 10 stop without even looking at what I'm trying to look at. And this is going to give me 5 seconds. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to up my exposure by 1 stop on the top of my camera. I can just slide it round to 1 stop overexposed, which is giving me a much better exposure and taking it up to 10 seconds. And again, I already know it's focused, it's sharp. 2-second timer on there, and that'll give me a 10-second exposure, which means it's going to open the shutter for 10 seconds, and everything that's moving in those 10 seconds will become blurred and fuzzy. So once I've done that, I'll then have a little look, put it on play, test it, have a look at it, and I actually think that's quite a nice simple little long exposure. 10 seconds was nice to get a bit of movement on the water. Got the island in the background, the little tiny dot of the lighthouse, which is just, you can just about see it in the background yet. And you've got those nice little flow of clouds. I'll probably crop it down to a 16:9 just to take out these dead end rocks at the bottom there, but that's not a bad little start. So then what if you want to do, you can try something a little bit more clever. You can take out another filter, maybe a 3 stop, so we've got 3 notches and it's red. Pop that on the front, and that's going to give us a much longer exposure. That's telling me 30 seconds, so I now need to turn it over onto timer mode. When I put it onto T, I can then adjust my exposure to different other than 30 seconds. I've got to 30, and I'm going to pump it up to 1 minute, which is 60 seconds. And again, I'm just going to hit the shutter, and this should really pull out all that water. So that was not a bad looking exposure. It's a lot longer than the other one. You can see the difference in the clouds and the movement, but it's quite dark in the shadow area. So what I'm going to do, just out of interest, I'm going to take my filters off, put it back onto my aperture priority, and I'm just going to get a lighter exposure for the texture on the actual posts, and that way I'm hoping that I'll be able to cheat and blend the post back in a little bit. I should be able to pull the exposure out of the original shot, but I just think that by having that extra exposure, you know that you've got something there to blend the hard bits back if you need to, and to get the shadow detail out. So now I'm going to change my exposure slightly, I think, see if I can get something a little bit different, maybe go a little bit lower, bring out that rock that's got the algae and the seaweed on it, and then we'll try one like that. So this time's exactly the same again. I put both the filters on, the 10 stop and the 3 stop, which give me 13 stops of light. I then increase my exposure by 1 stop, and yeah, well, I haven't increased it by 1 stop on this time actually, I'm gonna lie. I've actually put it on to 60 seconds again and give it a go. What I might have to do, because I'm thinking it's a little bit dark, I might just have to, no, it's not dark, I think that's all right. That's actually quite nice. But what I am gonna do, I'm just gonna knock my f-stop to 6.5, which is going to let a little bit more light into that same 1 minute exposure, and again that will just pick it up a little bit more by letting more light into the camera. So that 60 seconds, that 1 minute, it's going to let more light through the lens and then add to the sensor. So, but what I am getting is a bit of wind, and every so often the splashes are coming over the top of there. Oh, the camera nearly tipped over then. and it's throwing a bit of water this way, and I think I've got a bit of a storm coming, to be honest. So I might be running back to the van to get me waterproof, because believe it or not, I haven't even brought one with me this time, and I've always got one with me. So as soon as this is done, I think I will. I'm going to walk back to the van, get me waterproof before that storm down there hits me, and then we'll come back out. Or maybe just say sod it, and if I get wet, I get wet. 3, 2, 1, and let's have a little look at that one. Much better. The background's falling off out of focus a little bit, but it's much nicer on the groins, nice and sharp on the stone. Yeah, pretty cool. Right. Turn your IS off as well. A lot of the cameras do recognise when they're on a tripod, but I think we're doing such a long exposure, I think it's caused me a problem. I've just had a little look at the image and there's a slight movement on the actual rock. So I know that rock's not moving. It's got to be the IS it's trying to compensate. So turn that off as well if you can. So I've moved down the beach a little bit more now. I've just come back down to the other groin, one of the first ones, because the water's coming just lipping across the top. And what I'm trying to do is I'm just going to do a few different exposures with different filters. I've just tried one with my 10 stop on. I'm going to try one now with a 3 stop on, and just going to try a few different exposures or different exposure times. So by moving my f-stop from f8 to f11, by adjusting my exposure compensation from 1 over to 2 under, to 2 over, or different things like that, I'm just going to try and see if I can get some slightly different exposure mode and put them up on the screen to see which ones you prefer, whether you like a little bit of movement in the water, by sort of like a 1/5 of a second, 1/2 of a second, and just try these different things. So like the 3 stop doesn't seem to be working quite as well, so let's put the 6 stop on at f11 and see if I can get sort of like 1/2 a second, and then as the water just lips over the top of that little stonework, it might just give us, this is actually giving us 2 seconds, so let's just try a 2-second exposure. It might just give us that little bit of water movement, just lipping over the top of the stones and just making a slightly different image to all the rest. So again, let's go another one on 2 seconds. Got to press go to start. 1.5 seconds. And it's just giving you that different bit of movement in the water each time. And it's just trying to balance which one it is you like. I'll go back down to F8, that's giving me 0.13 of a second. And again, each time the movement of the water is just slightly different each time. So it's really sort of picking up the water movement and the water texture you like in a shot. Let's give that one another go. 2-second time is not ideal when you're trying to get the water movement, but there's a lot of water movement going on, so it's not too bad. Yeah, I think that's a good thing to do. Get out and experiment with your filters and to try different filters and see which ones you actually like using, whether you're into the really big heavy stoppers. We can even try and take one with a polarizer on, and that's the Blue Maven filter. And we can have a look and see if that makes any difference whatsoever. And it doesn't really, it makes the water a bit darker, maybe brings the clouds out a little bit, but there's not a lot going on because there is a impending gloom coming over. And I think we're going to go back to the 10 stop now and just try a couple more at that. 10 seconds maybe. Focus again just to make sure I haven't moved anything. And you'll see the difference in all these images I've been putting up on the screen as I'm talking, on the different exposure settings that I've got, between changing my f-stop, changing my exposure compensation, changing the filters around. And I'm hoping I can remember which filter belongs to which, because it's never an easy thing to do. So please bear with me. It's going to start raining in a minute, so I think that's us done. The groins are not that interesting. There is one closer down to the van that I'm going to have a look at on my way past, and if it is, I'll get it anyway. But yeah, I think quite possibly that's it. I'll check out in a moment if this one doesn't work. Right, so it started spitting. Those clouds are starting to roll over a bit more now. It's getting a bit thicker in the sky. The groins down here don't look that good. I've missed the straight one that's there. So I'm going to call it. So please, short video, maybe, I don't know. I've got a stone in my shoe. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Because of course I'm wearing the appropriate footwear, aren't I? Yeah, no, I'm going to call it there. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm going to get out of the rain before it starts. The van's only a couple of 100 yards away now, if that. So I'm done. Long exposures, very simple. Camera on a decent tripod, image stabilizer off, a set of filters, could be any filters, they don't have to be expensive filters. Just get yourself a cheap screw-on one to try it first of all, and if you like it, then purchase something a little bit nicer. And like I said, I swear by these Maven, they are beautiful filters, really, really are, and they have got a lot of filters coming out very, very soon. I will put a link for the Maven kit down below and who to contact and where to get them from. And yeah, I think I'm done. Oh wow, look at all these. Someone's had supper by the looks of it. Some shells. Oyster, not oysters, aren't they? They're yeah, I don't know what they are. The grey shells. My head's gone blank. I'm worried about the rain. Right, I'm back now, back at the van, and you can see, look at the colour of that sky above me. It's going to get a bit miserable, but I think what I'm going to do later on before I leave this spot is jump on my little electric bike and buzz all the way down the end and see what it's like down further along. I was actually on the beach yesterday on it. That Execute Star, if you've seen it, if you've seen me riding it before, I was actually on the sand riding up and down the beach. It was really good fun. Yeah, I'm done. Ciao for now. See you soon, guys. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.